Hello, students. Today we're going to look at a piece called Menuet by Robert de Visee, and I'm going to go through this and talk about how to play the piece, the different areas in this piece that you got to consider and handle with your technique, make it happen to play the piece correctly. A lot of pieces get played poorly for years, but until you actually realize what's going on in the music. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this. I'm going to do a screen share here. All right, so here we go. This is Menuet, once again by Robert de Visee. You can look at the piece. One of the first things you should look at is, well, the name. Well, it's a minuet. What does that tell you? It's a dance. Okay, so it needs to be at a dance tempo. Lucky for you, or all of us, they give you a range of what you should play this at. Most of the time in this book series, I will play a piece at the slower tempo, not because it's easier, which we'll talk about in a second, but because I think it sounds generally better. Some pieces are really meant to be played quite a bit faster. This is probably fine at 104. 92 though, generally with the pieces in this series, I like to play them at a slower tempo because it gives the guitar time to kind of breathe the notes, or for lack of a better term, give it time to sound, for the notes to flow really well. But and we know his dates also, 1655 to 1732, I think it is. I can't really see that over there. So we look at that. We know the name. We know what it is. We know the tempo. We know when it was composed. You could do some research on pieces from this era over here, 1655 to 1732. We know it's in 3/4, 3 beats to the measure, quarter note gets the beat. Very important. This is forte, which we know is loudly. Which I'll tell you ahead real quick. That means when you come to this chord, it's difficult a little bit to play this and strum this with your thumb all the way across, because you tend to play all this forte up here, and then you come here and you hit this chord with your thumb across, P, and lo and behold, you're playing fortissimo, usually very loudly. So it's just a little out of character. I don't really do it that way. I go P, P, I, M, A. Like that, and the squiggly line means to kind of arpeggiate the chord. So that's what we've got going there. Now you notice up here this says PIV. They want you to use a pivot bar across the first fret, and you're going to bar. I don't know why they say that. Let's see. You could. Oh yeah. So right here, you're not doing a pivot bar is where you play the chord, and then you can't let go of this note, so you just have to kind of push your first finger down, so you're still holding this note, but you're now playing this one here on the first string. Okay, enough said about that. Now, pieces have melodic lines in general, unless you have a piece that's a real character piece and it's just all chords, and there's a reason they're building this kind of emotional thing with chords. In this piece, the melody is all up here on the top. All of it. It's all there. It goes nowhere else. Some pieces you'll have the melody on the top, then it'll move down inside, maybe down to the bass part. But this one, it's melody all the way on the top. Now, the important thing about notes is that you play the notes, you play the right pitch, and you play it at the right time. So those two things at first, I mean, if you had to just go through the piece and just kind of get the first notes where you knew where they were, you can do that however you want. Right? So, but let's say you're reading your notes really well, and you can get them, you can play them in tempo. So we'll play the melody in tempo. We're only worried about playing the note pitches, the correct pitch, and at the right time. This is 3/4. So 1, 2, 3, and it would be. Okay, so we played the right pitch, we played it at the right time, but what we didn't do was the third thing, and that is these notes. That's a quarter note. It lasts for a whole beat. It goes all the way from here to here. Okay, and it's a little hard to play what's called legato. It takes more work. It takes more effort, but you've got to do that. You've got to treat legato as the default way that you play. If you don't play legato, then you should have a reason. You should have made the decision that you're not going to play a note or a group of notes legato, that you're doing it for a certain character, or at times the music does call for it. It'll say, you know, they'll put a little dot there for it to be staccato. So to play this line legato is. And notice this last note right here. That note gets 3 beats. A half note with a dot. Half of 2 is 1. 2 plus 1 is 3. That's 3 beats. This note lasts all the way to here, or rather to this one. Okay, all the way across. It's not 3 beats from here to here. It's 3 beats from here to here, to the first note of the next measure. Now, the next thing is you've got this other part, which I tend to think of this area down here, the way this is written, as is there's actually 2 parts there. There's the chord, which is this whole thing right here. It actually includes this note, but look at the way it's written. You got these dotted half notes. So this note, this chord, this right here lasts for 3 beats all the way to here. So in other words, you're not going to do this. Okay, it's okay, and then you come here, and this gets 1 beat. This cuts off right here. So you'll have a lot of players that'll do this exactly backwards. They'll go. Now, you know, the difficulty here, and this is kind of advanced technique, but I'm going to go ahead and talk about it. I can play this chord and I can let go of it right away. I'll do this. I'm going to play this chord for 1 beat. I'm going to let go. And what have I got? You can still hear this note. I've let go of it. Why is that? It's because the 6th string is E. That's a low E right there, 6th string. And I'll play this note right here one more time, and I'm going to let go of it. And you can still hear it, because my 6th string, E, is vibrating at the exact same pitch, by the way, in sympathy to the note that I played. So you have to find a way to cut that off. And the way to do that is, I mean, I wouldn't fault you at first if you're trying to play this piece and you play all the right pitches. You play legato and you play all the notes at their full written value. And at this point you didn't shut off the 6th string, I'd say, oh well, that's a level above where they are. But it's easy enough, really. What I do, which I know it's probably hard to see, but I'll just explain it. I play the chord, and as soon as I reach up to touch this note to play it, I just set my thumb P back over on the 6th string. It shuts it off right away. I don't have to worry about any of these two right here. So that takes care of those first two measures. Now we come here. These two notes get one beat. We don't have to worry about this one because we're going to let go of this to play this note with our fourth finger. That's one reason you're using the fourth there. The second reason you're using the fourth there is it's generally more stable. You could use three. We all get in the habit of that. If I use my third finger here, I could hold this note all the way through, but it kind of messes with the melody here. You know, we'd have this note and then we have it again in the melody. Well, I never really liked that sound very much, but if I did use my third finger here on this note, I could get this. Sorry. Not so bad. I'm not sure you can really even tell it, but they have it marked with a 4. But notice I'm not letting go of this note right here. I'm not letting go. 1, 1, 2, 3, and the bottom one too. 1, 2, 3. That's that part. So here, and then here, 3 beats all the way to there. Don't let go. And so very legato up here. Hold the bottom note. Once again, I didn't let go of these. I come here. Try to cut this. Try to cut this sympathetic E off here. Now this cuts off right here. How do you do that? You just I used P and M on these notes. And a little harder to do. I wouldn't fault you for this at first because it's hard. But when you go to play this note, you put your right hand fingers back down where these notes were and touch those strings and turn them off. And then you get down to this last chord. You just got to take a much lighter strum with P. And the way to do that is to lean your hand over more and push down. Don't try to do this. So, and then now we're here. So we have a lot of the same issues all through this area. Same stuff here. You know, hold the notes their full value coming across. This thing is everything that happens in the second part of this piece we have talked about. The only thing that doesn't happen down here is the fact that you never have this sympathetic E coming in. It doesn't happen down here at the bottom part at all. One important thing that players tend to miss, you can take license with it and hold this chord as long as you want. You know, you get to the end and go. Or and just let it go. But it's a good habit to focus, at least at first, is playing this and give it 3 beats and cut on the 4th beat. That's the way that's supposed to be done, and that's the way you should approach it at first. In other words, yet again, you should make a conscious choice to do that at the end. If you do something different in the music than what's written, it should be a conscious choice, okay? Because you may have to own up to it later. You know, if the composer was there and he said, how come you did it that way? And you'd have to say, well, you know, I didn't really notice that note got 3 beats, but in fact it does. So that's the lesson on book 3, page 6, the Menuet by Visee. So I hope that helps you. Okay, thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.